What's up, everybody? Gali here, Citizens Voice Podcast, Season 2, Episode 4. And today we have Premo. And for those who've been watching the channel for a bit, you've probably heard me mention his name a lot. I've talked about him in streams a fair bit. And we've done some stuff together on his channel. We've been featured in there a couple of times. Good friend now. Support him as much as I can. And I'll have all his links and stuff in the bio. So make sure you give him a follow. Tremendous creator and super excited for all the stuff he's got coming up. So Primo, tell us a little bit about yourself. Maybe how you started getting into content creation and just a little bit about yourself.
Right on. Thank you very much for having me, man. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Yeah, so I started content creation, about feels like 2.5 years, maybe 3 years ago. Um, just had a day off. Normally, I would be making music or something like that, or going on a walk, but I didn't have my laptop that day, and I wasn't in for a walk or a hike, so I downloaded a Flash animation app on my phone and just made a really, really silly Flash animation just for fun and thought I should do something with this. I'm not going to show my friends because it's so horrendous. And I uploaded it to YouTube. I got 20 views and I thought, well, that was fun. Probably do that again tomorrow, maybe. And so I did that again and thought that was fun. Did it again, slightly different Flash animation, and then I thought I could make like a video about this, or a video about something else. And so I downloaded editing software on my phone, and at the time I just didn't have a computer available to me. So on my fourth video on the channel, I did a World of Warcraft nostalgia video, and that was about 8 minutes long, and I did the entire thing on my phone. I even, did the narration on my phone, everything. So the first 10 or so videos on the channel are actually all done from my phone. And it just became something that I found was fun to post and, you know, do stuff with. Saved up for a computer, built my own computer, and then maybe 8 months after that, I made a video about Red Dead, and that took on some steam. Started doing a lot of Red Dead videos, Redemption 2, and then was kind of done with the Red Dead stuff. Started doing Star Citizen stuff, um, and tried to get into that niche, and it was very, very bumpy early on, but we did. I feel like we've done well in Star Citizen, and Star Citizen has been super fun. So now we're here. So
Yeah.
it's been a good ride.
And if how many videos for Star Citizen? You done what, like five, six, maybe seven?
Yeah, it'd be something in that range, like maybe six. Yeah, I think so, six probably. So
Nice.
yeah.
So for some context for the viewers, the way me and Primo met was because I think you had just posted your first Star Citizen video, and then
Right.
I watched it, and I think I watched it a day after it got posted, and you were streaming on YouTube, I think, or Twitch,
Right. Yeah.
one
Yeah.
of the two.
Yeah.
I think it was
Yeah.
YouTube because I think
Yeah. I think
I
it was
watched the
YouTube.
video,
Yeah.
and then I saw the little live bubble that you were live. So then I went into your YouTube to say congrats on the video and great job and whatnot.
Right. I was
And
streaming Red Dead, I think.
no, it was that fantasy game that um you were playing it for. Maybe it's not considered. I don't know those games very well. It was like the melee. Was it Claire Expedition?
Oh, yeah, Claire Obscura. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was playing that on stream.
Yeah, I think
Right.
that's what you were playing when I watched. And so I reached out there and we started conversing. I popped into a few of his streams, and then we ended up connecting, played some together. And then he did a video on one of our arms dealing events. And for those who've been watching for a while, you guys are probably familiar with the video because I know I passed it out to everyone I knew. Um, And yeah, so that's how we connected. So we've been connected for not quite a year, but we're approaching a year here now. Um, and yeah,
Been
so
it's been very fun.
yeah, it has. Um, so we'll jump right in. Uh, I wanted to start off by asking, because I don't even know if I asked this when we first met, or maybe I did, but I don't remember. What drew you to Star Citizen? Because there's some pretty big differences between a Red Dead, a WoW, and Star Citizen. Like, yes, there are some similarities, but there's also a lot of differences. So I'm curious, what was that like? Was it like an advertisement? Was it a YouTube video? Was it some word of mouth? Like, what was it that like someone did something and just hooked you, and now you had to go try it?
Right, right. So, you know, I was doing a lot of Red Dead stuff, and I was playing World of Warcraft in the background, and I just wanted a new game. And I think in December of 2024, I wanted to fly a spaceship. That was my goal. That was the only thing that I wanted to do. I had bought No Man's Sky years prior, and I had never really sunk my teeth into it. I loaded it up, and just for whatever reason, it didn't grab me um, back in the day. And so around December that time, I tried to sink my teeth into it a little bit more. I played it for a few days, and it just wasn't. No Man's Sky is a beautiful game. It's a great game, but it wasn't what I was looking for at the time. Um, then just because of the No Man's Sky stuff, I was watching shorts on YouTube, and I distinctly remember, I think it was Daymar. Uh, just somebody on Daymar, um, high definition, um, sh- just graphics, high fidelity graphics, and they were flying a spaceship. And I thought, that's what I want. I want the really good graphics, and I want to fly a spaceship. I had no idea what the game was. I'd never I think earlier in the late 2010s, I had heard of a project that was crowdfunded, and there were problems with it.
Hmm.
I had no idea what the I was. It was just one of those things that a streamer mentioned in passing. Um, so I do remember stories or something, but I never really paid attention to them. Uh, but I found out that the game in that short with the high fidelity was Star Citizen. So I started looking into that. Um, Started, trying to figure out what the game was. How do and then you hear about, oh, it's an alpha, it's a little bit buggy, all these the bad rumors about the game. And I think just what made me purchase it and kind of ignore all of the fluff was that I saw, okay, I just want to fly a spaceship. Like, this is all I want to do, and these people
Yeah.
are doing it. So you must be able to do that in game. So I bought the game, and um, I played the game for like 2.5 months before I ever made content on it. I was playing that game almost every day, and started out doing hauling missions. Started out doing those missions, and then went into Vaughn missions,
Yep.
which was really lucrative for me. Um, and after I think after I got my first Constellation Taurus, that was the first like big ship that I bought. Um, that is when I made my first video, and I didn't know about Squadron 42 until you and I talked.
Ah, okay.
So imagine that. I mean, I kind of I made a joke the other day that I'm CIG's most satisfied customer because all I wanted to do was fly a spaceship. And I didn't know you could do all of these other things. I didn't know about the verse. I didn't know about Squadron 42. So the game really expanded for me in a big way. And it's caught me, and I come from World of Warcraft, which is an MMO. I come from Red Dead, which is a 10 out of 10 game, let alone a 10 out of 10 Cowboy game. But
Yeah.
I just like good games, and I feel like Star Citizen is a good game.
Yeah, it's so this wasn't I wasn't intending to ask this, but I feel like I should. Um, Star System requires a certain level of what should we call it? Pain tolerance, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, w- do you think your pain tolerance has changed since playing Star Citizen, or like was that like a big like shock starting to play, or were you kind of coming in like I'm expecting this to be terrible and I'm going to make the best out of it, or were you expecting it to be more of a polished product and not have to have the pain tolerance that you probably do now?
I don't know. I think there there are different variables to that whole scenario. So one thing is the game was so new and fresh to me that even waking up in the apartment, because that's what you did back then, you don't
Yep.
wake up in your hangar, um, and seeing the city was like crazy. Like
Yeah.
I was just in awe of everything. Going down to my hangar, seeing like, oh my god, like that's the ship that I got for my starter pack. Like,
Yeah.
whoa. And then you open it up and it's like, like this is crazy. And just taking that first flight is such a crazy thing that I think especially for a new player that is in that struck by the game, like in awe of what they've created. I think that it's very easy to bypass all of the bugs. It's very easy to jump over those hurdles if you're into that sort of thing. If you're expecting like super solid gameplay, I don't know if I think those are the types of people. If you're expecting a solid product or solid gameplay, and you're not allowing yourself to have those awestruck moments, I think it is harder. Fast forward to now, um, I've loaded onto the ship 1,000 times,
Yeah.
and I've flown a bunch of ships, and so I think there is a moment. I think I personally have moments of awe every time I play. Had one last night. Was in Pyro. Saw these two gas cloud colors
Yeah.
on an asteroid. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. But um, I feel like when you get into the game a little bit more, and you are kind of, it's a year later, and there's things that just desync. I've run into this year every day. So
Yeah.
there are things that that you kind of expect from the game. So I think I don't know if pain tolerance going down is the right way to say it, but I would say that expectations for the game get on a certain level. Things that
Yeah.
worked months ago suddenly don't work because they added something new or whatever.
And would you agree with this statement that Star Citizen is one of those games where the the high moments are just so much higher than the low moments, even though there are so many low moments?
Right, right. It's that classic phrasing of like when Star Citizen sucks, it sucks, and you
Yeah.
want to throw your PC out the window. People Alt F4, you know, all this stuff. But when it hits, there is no other game like it.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, it's in its own category. Like, let alone space games, it really is in its own category. And
Yeah.
that's why it has so much support and so many people play it, even though, despite that, it's not a finished game.
Yeah.
So, I, yeah,
I'd be really curious. I really really wish they published their play like they publish so much stuff and it's very strange to me that they don't publish their concurrent player count or average player count.
right,
Like
right.
it seems to me that would be a number that you would want to show unless it's like embarrassingly low, like in the hundreds. But if you're in the thousands of players, which I suspect they are,
Right.
there's no way they're not actually. There's just no way.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, for sure.
to have that level of support in an alpha game, yes, I know it's people are gonna hate on me for calling it an alpha still, but it is an alpha still. Um, to have that level of support, and then obviously the financial support, which is like beyond record shattering. I can't even
Right.
count the number of records they've broken from a funding standpoint, and
Right.
you realize that there is something special here. But like you said, when the game sucks, you just want to pound your fist into your graphics card.
Right.
Um,
Right.
it's
And
brutal.
and I think, not to interrupt you, but I think that uh there are advantages to showing player count, but there's also disadvantages. World of Warcraft stopped showing concurrent player count after, I think, after Mista Pandaria or something like that, which is in the 2013 era. Um But before that, they were boasting about it because they got up to 13 million players in 2009,
Yeah,
which was crazy. And so, I think like if they're having good years, they could post it, and then like what happens if they have bad years? It kind of hurts the company. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the tens of thousands. We were talking about this on the other day. Somebody said 50,000, like across the world.
yeah.
And I like, you know, maybe 30,000, 50,000, something like that. I don't know. You know, you do
My
see a lot of the same
personal,
people.
and
You do see a lot of the
that's
same
my
people.
thing is yes, the shard count is high. Like, yes, you're playing with somewhere between like usually 400 and 700 people now on shards, but the
Right.
number of times that I run into the same people, it makes me feel like that player count isn't high in the 5 digit range. Like to me, my guess, if I was to ballpark, they're averaging 10 to 15K concurrent.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, that was somebody else that said 50K, but I
yeah,
thought that initially said the same thing as you. Because you just run into the same people so much that um I couldn't see it not being that. I would be very
yeah.
surprised. I'd be very surprised. I'll just say that.
As a
So,
guy who runs a PvP org, we've it's gotten to the point now where not only do we know player names, we also know Idris names. So like we'll see an Idris out in the verse, and because people can name their ships, we'll be like, "Oh yeah, we just fought this ship 4 days ago. Oh yeah, we fought that ship 10 times this
right.
month or whatever." And we like see these ships and these ships, which is cool. I'll be honest, it is cool seeing things and knowing there's like a history there with something, but it does make me think the player count is in like the 10 to 15K range. But
Yeah, yeah.
um we'll I kind of want to slightly pivot. We're kind of in the same space here. Has anything changed in terms of what drew you in when you started to what continues to drive you to play now?
Right. You know, when I so again wanted to fly a spaceship, then the whole hauling stuff. I actually really enjoyed hauling. I uh I think you were there when I was saving up for the whole sea. And I
Yeah.
kept on saying, I can't go with you guys. I'm doing these missions. I got to save up for the whole sea and all this stuff. Um uh I really enjoyed hauling, and then I got into Vaughn missions, which I could just take my Avenger Titan, go up to the um the ship with all the maze and weevil eggs and all that stuff.
Yep.
Just shoot the door open, take it, and then bring it back. I thought that was really fun. Um, then I ran into you. You were my first ever like org gameplay,
Yep.
um, which is now doing numbers on YouTube. So um, I think nowadays I have a billion credits. I have every ship in the game. I was just doing blueprint runs last night. I did a little bit of mining yesterday. I think just being with people and going on adventures, like tagging along with people.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure that you've seen my shenanigans with the burger stuff.
The Whammer
Uh,
Mobile.
the Whammermobile. And it's so for anybody that doesn't know, I after 100 referrals, you get a skin for the freelancer, and um, one of the skins is the Whammer Burger logo, and so I call that the Whammermobile, and then uh, through friends was able to obtain the Whammer uh, outfit, the employee outfit. So I take a bunch of Whammer Burger stuff, the burgers, and I ask if anybody wants to purchase them in global, and I say that I'll come to you. It's 3 AUEC. So basically, I don't even care if they pay me. I'll come to you and I'll give you a burger. And people don't even believe that it's real. Most of the time they're like, okay, man, like, yeah, give me a burger. And they don't believe that I'm coming. And I show up and they see the skin, they see the outfit, they see me asking, what do you want? Do you want a veggie wham, a chicken wham, a wham burger, a wham deluxe? Um, and they just go wild every single time. So it's a joke. But my point be coming back to your question is there is this moment where when they are eating the burger, I say, "What are you doing out here?" Because sometimes they're in space, sometimes they're near the worm,
Yep.
sometimes they're in Nyx. So what are you doing out here? And if they sometimes they tell me that they're just like doing solo stuff, and I just ask if I can come along. So it's actually a really good way to get into the verse and to tag along with people that wouldn't normally post in global chat.
Yeah.
And so the other night I delivered a burger to this guy, and he took me on a 4-hour adventure. Like he was hunting down um, armor and
Okay.
certain types of armor, and we're just going different places. I just said, I'm not here to loot anything. I'm not here to steal your loot or anything. I just want to come and get back. I did take a little break from the game. I just want to get back into the game and s- slowly get back into the game and get my bearings again. So
Yeah.
being with people is very fun
Yeah.
in the game now.
I personally, as you know, can attest to that. I am
Right.
all for the player interaction aspect. It's what drives me in. If Star Citizen was a single player game, I wouldn't play. To me,
Right.
Squadron 42, I will play, but I will probably only play it once because I'm just there for the story and the one-time
Right.
experience. I just don't value a single player game enough to continue to draw me back. But Star Citizen, if an open world thing like this was single player, I honestly wouldn't do it. Even though it's
Right.
incredible, I would probably check
Right.
it out, play for 5-10 hours, and then that's kind of it for me. But it's that
Right.
social interaction that Star Citizen provides that is just peak. Mwah, mwah. It is chef's kiss the best.
And I've personally, I mean, there's not a lot of people that do it like you. I feel like just seeing that video the other day of everybody lined up was just insane. I actually, I've been, uh, Skylark has been wanting me to come over, and I personally want to come over. Maybe I'll like hang out with you the Order 66 today. I was gonna play today, so, um, but yeah, man, I am very interested to see what happens with Squadron 42 when it releases, if it releases.
Yeah,
No, but um, the audience, because not everybody plays Red Dead Online. Not everybody even tries to play Red Dead Online. The
yeah,
people that liked that story game, the people that like that solo player experience, um, I think it's going to be interesting to see a whole new audience come into the CIG stuff,
yeah,
the Squadron 42 game. And I think there will be a whole new audience that comes in, and when they see that there's an MMO and it's really buggy, I'm very curious about what's gonna happen there.
Yeah,
It's a huge dice roll probably, but it's gonna be interesting.
and it's why I think we are seeing such major strides in the game right now is because I think, and again, this is purely speculation. I think CIG has a a threshold that Star Citizen needs to be at. I wouldn't be surprised if right now they could release Squadron 42 and it'd be ready to go. It probably
Right.
isn't, but I wouldn't be surprised if they could, and it would be acceptable in passing.
Right, right.
Might be some
Yeah.
bugs or whatever, but it would still do numbers. I strongly believe that a major holdup for Squadron 42 releasing is Star Citizen being at a threshold that is acceptable enough for someone to play Squadron and then go to Star Citizen, which is clearly what they want to do because Star Citizen is a literal cash cow waiting to be milked
Right.
even further than it already has.
Right.
And you're now going to be driving all these people who just experienced what's probably going to be one of the most impressive cinematic storytellings in gaming history, um, filter
Agreed.
them over to a cinematic experience in a multiplayer environment that has a lot missing and potentially a lot of bugs
Yeah.
still. And
Yeah.
that's going to be a really high like peak moment and then a really low crash. And if they
Right,
can't
right.
figure out a way to like stabilize that a little bit more and make it a little bit better, to me, I don't see Squadron ever being delayed because Squadron isn't ready. I see Squadron being delayed because Star Citizen isn't ready for Squadron.
I I could definitely see that. I think that I basically agree with everything that you just said. The other thing that I would add in there is because I was watching, I can't remember what, I think it might have been Space Tomatoes podcast with Ollie and Morph and all those guys.
Yep.
They were talking about should Squadron 42 release, even though it's pretty obvious that, like, right now the verse is not ready for it.
Yeah.
There's so I don't know if you know, gameplay wise, there's a lot to do in the game, but desync is crazy, especially with you sometimes the NPCs, you can walk up to their face and they'll be like, just stand there with a gun and look at you. And then other times they are John Wick and they are coming out of nowhere in infinite waves. And so I think that is something that really needs to be addressed. But from a company standpoint, just to not to bring up another like metaphor or
Yeah.
another situation, but GameStop back in the day, um, they had that stock surge, and if you paid attention to that, there were way after. So Ryan Cohen took over the company, right?
Yep.
Way after um, the whole stock surge, GameStop bought a lot of its own shares. The company bought its own shares, and that instills shareholder confidence. The guy who cares about his own money is like, yes,
Yeah.
like these guys know what something's up, something's coming. And fast forward a year or two later, they sold a lot of that and at a higher price. And to the person that cares about the company, it's a good thing. It to the person that wants their money to go up, it's like, why are you dumping on us?
Yeah.
Um, so but from that transaction, they secured like they were in debt, they had a lot of debt, they didn't have a lot of cash. They paid off all their debts. They secured like multiple billions of dollars worth of cash
Yeah.
like reservoir. So GameStop, just from that transaction, GameStop is not going bankrupt in our lifetime.
Yeah.
And um, I see Squadron 42 as one of those things that whether they do the max conversion of players, they'll they will be able to sell that game. And if it hits the single player market like very well, I mean, imagine a world where CIG suddenly has double the revenue that they usually have, or maybe even triple. You
Honestly,
know,
I wouldn't be surprised if you because to double they need to basically make 150 million from
right,
Squadron, and
right.
I could see them making way more than that.
Exactly. I could see them making half a billion up to a billion. I mean, in a couple of years at least. So I think I think the question of like it would be very cool if Star Citizen was ready. It would be
Yeah.
very cool if it was polished. But I don't know if as a as far as business goes, I think that they're gonna release Squadron and just make a lot of money, you know. So um, there's that to think about too. So
Uh, you're obviously connected to Red Dead, and off camera we were talking about GTA a little bit. What do you think about the impending juggernaut of GTA 6 releasing in a what we now presume is going to be very close window to Squadron? Obviously, they are two different games in a lot of respects,
right,
but there's also some similarities in the way both these games function and operate and are trying to accomplish. So, do you have any
right,
thoughts on how that might impact? Because I think it'll impact the Star Citizen side a lot more than the GTA side. GTA, Star Citizen could be the greatest thing in the world. GTA is still going to sell and be the greatest selling game of all time. Um,
right. Well, you know, GTA is GTA. It's a single player game, but they also have bought in 5M.
yeah,
They have that role play is going to be more accessible than it ever has before, and people love that. And in fact, the online stuff back in GTA 5 day, that wasn't as solid as we see now. It was kind of like something that they were kind of pursuing and like managed to get ready. And it wasn't until content creators did crazy numbers with the role play stuff that the role play and online really took over.
yeah,
Um, so that being said, I think there's one thing to say about Star Citizen is a space MMO that requires a PC to play.
yeah.
And um, Squadron 42, I don't know if it's going to be console. I think it probably will be.
It sounds like it will, yeah.
It sounds like they've got that PlayStation at the thing. But to say that that Squadron 42 is that's gonna I've had talks with people that say, oh, it's just a different game. It's a different genre. It's not. I think that's silly thinking personally. Because personally speaking,
Yeah.
uh, as soon as GTA 6 comes out, I'm gone. I'm out of here. I will be covering GTA 6 very extensively. And I hope I saw a post from Burks the other day that said he believes that Squadron 42 will release in October, which is November 19th is GTA 6 date.
I
I
share the same
hope
belief, by the way.
in October?
Yeah, I know what post you're talking about. You're talking about the announce it release date at
Yeah.
Invictus in May,
Yep.
release in October. I fully agree with that
Really?
because October is
I,
when
I
they do their Citizen Con. So I think
right.
instead of Citizen Con, it's going to be it might still be called Citizen Con, but it's basically going to be Squadron 42 release insanity.
Interesting. I could definitely see that. And it would be in the spirit of the company. What date is that? Do you know on in
They haven't
October?
announced when, which is why
They haven't.
I actually made a post about this. We're now in April, and I think viewers correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is the latest we've gone in a year without knowing anything about CitizenCon. Like
Right.
normally, last year we were notified, I think in early March, what the date was and the fact that it was going to be online, and that there was not not going to be anything in person. I believe the year before that was also in March. We got told information about CitizenCon. We have still
Mm.
heard nothing on CitizenCon. Not even a peep.
I could see it. I could see it happening. I hope that it's earlier. um, but
And why do you hope it's going to be earlier? Because you think it's
I
too
hope it's
close?
early. I think it is a little bit too close. I think a month's time between those two games. Um, I would like it to be September
Yeah.
personally. But I mean, maybe I'm like in the wrong there. But I will say that I am so excited for Squadron 42, and I will be playing that. I'm no lifing that game. I'll be playing that pretty extensively, especially somebody that I do enjoy the single player campaigns. I do enjoy the
Yeah.
single player games. So in a lot of ways, I play Star Citizen in a solo way most of the time. So I think that it's just a sad part of the conversation that they have to be around the same time as GTA
Yeah.
6. I mean, who could have predicted that? Nobody. Um, and the fact that GTA 6 kept on getting pushed back, and now we went from like a huge, uh, you
Yeah.
know, gap to now we're closing into like, oh my gosh, you guys are gonna be in the same quarter. Like, this
Yeah.
is crazy. So, I think it's unfortunate that GTA 6 is gonna come around at the same time, but I think that this is something that I will say about Squadron. You have these legendary space games. I mean, even Halo,
Yeah.
um, uh, Deus Ex, and I forget the names. Maybe it's not Deus Ex that I'm thinking of, but
Mass Effect?
you have Mass Effect. That's the one, and then Starfield, No Man's Sky. You have these space games, and it's kind of like cowboy games. You can play a lot of cowboy games. There's a lot of good cowboy games, but there's only one that you really, even if you want to play it, even if you don't like it, even if you couldn't get past the first chapter, there's one that you really can't ignore, and that's Red Dead.
Yeah.
And I think that Squadron 4, just the look of it, just the way that people are talking about it, the way that Chris talks about it, the way the developers talk about it, and and the examples of it. I think that Squadron 42 is going to be that single player space game that if you wanted to play a space game, there's one game you can't ignore. And I think it's going to be Squadron 42. So I think whether or not, they release it and then GTA 6 comes out, I think that over time people are going to be looking at that game and saying, this game is really good.
Yep.
And there's going to be content creators covering it. It's going to be headlines. It's going to be a huge event. There could be a way to spin off the controversy of CIG and just make it like
Make it
imagine that all
disappear.
that
Yeah.
controversy, and then people are like, "This is a 10 out of 10. Like the wait has been worth it." Like imagine that scenario. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
That would be
I
crazy.
I'm optimistic. It's unfortunate that they have to line that up like that, but I'm optimistic.
I'm just thinking about this right now. I actually further believe it's October based on what they said at the beginning of this year. Because if you think about the way this is lining up, we have bi-monthly patches.
Right.
So the way the schedule stands right now, our next patch is in May. Patch after that is July. Patch after
Right.
that is September. Now, September, I find it very hard to believe that they ship a patch in September at the same time as Squadron
Mm.
because patches usually come with some
Right,
instability.
right. Right,
And
right,
so they're
right.
going to want to get those features in, polish them up with some hot fixes. That pushes us into October. Boom, October hits. We have Squadron 42. We have CitizenCon. We're rolling. Hype is off the charts. We
Right.
then roll into November, which is the next patch and probably the last patch of the year. And we have IAE and we have the next patch. So now people have had a month to play Squadron and get hooked onto that high, and they might
Right.
have even dabbled in in a more stable Star Citizen because it's been cooking for a month or two with the patch cycle, and now boom, guys, we told you we got you hooked. Here's the next patch, and this one is the final patch of the year, banger patch. Boom, that's how we close out the year. And so you
I
have
could see
three
that.
back to back to back months of just high, 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 high explosion and try to ride that wave regardless of what GTA does. Because I think one of their biggest saving graces is that it's almost been confirmed, because there hasn't been any word otherwise, that GTA will remain on consoles and not launch on PC to start.
Exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
a
Yep.
huge thing for Star Citizen.
That's a huge thing.
I
Yeah.
There are
I
families who
100%
do
agree with that.
both console and PC, but it's not a huge difference. Like I personally do both, so I'll be on GTA, but for sure. But there's a lot of families or kids and maybe young adults who are just rocking PC, and that will be their saving grace, I think.
Right, right. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. I think that I'm excited to see what they say about things. I did you see the email that went out the other day for Squadron
Uh,
42?
yeah, the equipment one. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that got people like hyped up for a second, and then it's just the equipment. So, I
yeah,
I'm very excited to see what they say during this um the next event that they have. So, we'll see.
yeah. All right. Well, back to Star Citizen a little bit. We
Mhm.
kind of are already talking about the future, so I'll just roll this right into the next question, which is, what is exciting you the most about the potential, and maybe not the potential, the confirmed future that we know of, and maybe some speculation of what might be coming throughout the next, maybe the rest of the year, for example. Um,
Mhm.
you've obviously got GTA coming, and like you said, when that comes, you're gone. You're gonna go cover that.
Right.
What would Star Citizen have to do to then pull you away from GTA? Like GTA comes out end of the year, you're having a blast. Star Citizen is about ready to drop something of their own. What does that need to be to kind of reel you back in?
Right. Well, I'll start this answer off with a little bit of a story. A year ago, and maybe I was talking to a lot of pessimists. Maybe I was. I don't know. But I was asking, so like, because I joined just after Pyro got added.
Yeah,
I think I was 4.0 at the end of 4.0, and then like the next week it was 4.1.
yep,
Um, so I was told last year that an inventory rework would be years away. Engineering was years away. A new solar system was years away. And, fast forward to now, and crafting was years away. Fast forward to now, we have all those things. So, especially engineering and crafting, those are the things that, because Nyx, you can argue, we just have like Levski and stuff. Um, but I think just the fact that we have engineering and crafting, especially now. Um, Inventory is sometimes still frustrating. I played last night. There was a few things you gotta double click most of the time. You can't really drag things on there,
yeah,
is what I noticed. Um, but that alone makes me extremely hopeful for the future. And Um, I'm sure Order 66 is on this wave too. When we get base building, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a huge thing. So I think the big things for me right now, I like the game. Um, I was sh- I was streaming the other day, and um, there was ways to get around the doors in contested zones being glitchy.
yeah,
Um, and I was streaming the other day, and I was in contested zone, and the doors were glitchy, and I was like, "Well, I can't do this right now." Um, so uh, I think that when those issues get fixed, when NPCs are more consistent, um, they're not either John Wick or
Yeah.
just sitting there. Um, and then when base building comes in, and also, people like Order 66, um, they've got, you guys probably have got some pretty crazy guns on deck already, through crafting. And somebody like myself, you know, um, it'd be cool to have a few decked out guns, but I'm just not that type of player. I would
Yeah.
love to always have really crazy quantum drives on deck to be able to get around faster. So ship components crafting, and then obviously being able to craft the base building stuff.
Yeah.
I think that that is probably within the next year. It feels like. I mean, maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe there's other things to figure out, but the crafting stuff has already come. So, and all this stuff has already come. I think that base building is going to be a really insane thing. So my answer to that question, in summary, would be um, fixing desync in some way. I don't know how that's going to happen, whether it's higher server FPS or whatever. Base building, and then also I think that the game. I'll add two more. I think the game will explode with proximity chat that actually is
Oh my
really good.
God. Yeah.
And then dancing emotes. I think I think that's actually really important to the memes. I think that's really important to like memes and videos and um it's a joke, but I do think that's kind of important. I don't know why. Every time I want to make a video, I want to put a dancing emote in there. They're just not there. So
Yep.
I know that they were there previously, but proximity chat is going to turn this game into something else, you know.
I
So,
missed the dance emote because when I first came up with the idea of doing these like out of arm assist arms deals, I would go into global chat and I would intentionally try to find new players and I'd be like, I will pay you 1,000,000 credits, which at the time was a lot of money. That was like, oh my gosh, big money. I will pay you 1,000,000 credits for 1 hour of your time to come onto my 890 jump and stand in the middle of this table, stripped completely naked, and just spam the dance emote and be like my personal like arms dealing stripper to all
oh my
my
gosh,
arms dealing clients. And I haven't been
that's
able
so
to do
funny.
that in months because they removed the dance emote.
That's
Bring it
hilarious.
back, CIG.
Yeah, we gotta get some good ones in there too. World of Warcraft's dance emotes are so iconic. So I would love to see more dance emotes, and then the proximity chat, especially. I think I have tried. I'll just tell you this. I'll try. I've tried to make two um Star Citizen videos in the past, and I got pretty far on them, and I scrapped them. There are two videos that never came out because proximity chat was just didn't work,
Yeah.
and the video relied on proximity chat. So I think once those come out, I think we could see GTA RP levels of shenanigans. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be an amazing thing. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, and I think those are great answers. And what's cool about I think every answer you said except for base building, in my opinion, is very near future. Um,
Right.
like the proximity
Yeah.
chat, the social tools, the even like in-game orgs, um, and the
And
stability
when I
like desync and stuff. Like a lot of that is slated for this year, which is cool.
That's good to hear. And when I do say base building, I think that it's probably gonna be more of like the crafting thing. Like we only see crafting with guns and ammo and armor, and right now,
Yeah,
maybe there's like base building where you just like make a box, like make a hut or something. I don't know,
yeah.
and just that it's in the. I have no idea, but
I
um,
personally like I've been really struggling in a way with Star Citizen lately because of their reliance on like these tier 0 versions. Like it's really hard
yeah,
for me to go to my friends and say crafting is in Star Citizen because yes, there's
it's
like
yeah,
1,100 blueprints or whatever, but it's just FPS guns and gear, and if that's what you don't care about, crafting is not in the game for you. Like there's so many
yeah,
other things that need to be craftable or interact with the crafting system that don't necessarily invalidate it as a feature, but it's just not where it even close to where it needs to be for me to like go out to the public and go, it's here, we can finally do this.
right. And you and I talked about this the other week that I had a really wrong perspective on gear in Star Citizen early
Yeah,
on. That I thought you should be able to keep your armor and all this stuff. I do not think that. The other day, one of my favorite helmets I gave away to somebody that because one, they deserved it, but the other thing is like I've worn this thing forever, like, and I've just never lost it. Like, I
yeah.
can't even remember where I got it. Like, um, so I think it's unfortunate that when you were talking about that, just now, I was thinking I could just go into contested zone and get a bunch of guns. And like, I could just go into Onyx facilities, get some armor. You could, like, it's faster than crafting.
Yeah.
Um, and there's probably some things that like the ability to craft uh boom tube ammo. I don't know if that's craftable, but that would be huge. But as far as like yeah, I think that I think the whole thing and not losing your armor when you die, I think is kind of renders crafting stuff a little bit not worthless, but just doesn't have the same impact,
100%. Like right now, you have no need to ever craft more than one of anything.
Right, right,
Unless you are selling it to other players, you never have a need to craft a second crafted P4. You just don't
right,
because you'll never lose it. Um,
right.
and
How's
so
your
yeah,
org? Skylark said that you guys have quite the collection of blueprints right now. How's that all going?
it's going well. We've been grinding almost every day. We've got at least some groups doing something every day. Um, I know I personally like I've unlocked the blueprints for most of the FPS guns that I want. Working on some of the armor sets right now, and now honestly the biggest thing is we're just trying to get the mineral, the gems to do the crafting.
Right,
That's
right,
proving to be way harder than getting the blueprints.
right.
Um,
I did some of that yesterday, and I think out of a bunch of, I think I got Aphrodite. Out of a bunch of that, I got like two stacks of 600 and then one 800 stack.
yeah, we're like
Maybe two.
aggressively hunting for the 900s, and they just don't exist.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't see any of them in there, so.
We are. What's cool though, and what I really do like about crafting, and I made a Twitter post about this because I was really excited about it, is it's totally changed the game in a way for large groups of people, orgs, you could call them, to work together. So, like right now, we are in talks with Space Tomatoes org. We're in talks with
Mhm,
Salty Mike and his org, 30K. And then two
mhm,
other groups that I know from way back when I first started playing. We're in talks with all four of them to start getting us minerals in exchange for whatever it is it might be. So like for Salty Mike's org, it's just cash.
mm.
For Space
Right,
Tomato,
right.
we're still on early talks. I don't know what that'll shape up to be. And same with the other two early talks. I don't know what the item we'll give or the service we'll give will be, but it's cool to now be able to go out and be like, hey, let's form partnerships, and you guys will go do the things you're really good at, and you have a lot of people who like to go do that stuff, and we'll do this, and we'll meet, swap goods or services, whatever it might be, and we get to accomplish our goals. Hopefully, we are accomplishing some of your goals for you, and meet in the middle. And that dynamic is really cool right now. And we're still kind of
That is
seeing
very
how it
cool.
shapes up and what it will kind of turn out to be and how effective it will be. But
Right.
it is cool.
The good thing about uh crafting is like the guys who really only do industrial stuff, because
Yeah,
there's like haulers and haulers, they only play hauler gameplay, and then there's miners, and salvagers, and those guys suddenly become very valuable, because they're
yeah,
out just doing that, and they
all
could,
day.
and if they're not doing PvP, um, who's the person to buy them from? It's you,
Yeah,
so those guys become super valuable, which is another layer of cohesion in the game,
yeah.
which is nice.
Next up, we just need a more formal way to trade because
Right.
right now it's really ghetto.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny because I was watching a really old WoW video that was 17 years old, and um so this must have been 2000 something, 2009, 2010. And They made a joke in the video. So back then there was a website called Thoughtbot, and that was for World of Warcraft. It was basically an encyclopedia for World of Warcraft. And um, in the video they joked about, um, I how do you get this? They posted on the forum, and the guy was like, stop cheating, and it was a joke, and he said, you're already on Thoughtbot, you're cheating anyways. And I thought that was an interesting thing because, um, you know, it's a joke. It's supposed to be funny, but the idea that that was even a joke,
Yeah,
the idea that being on a website that tells you about the game is considered cheating, even as a joke, is so interesting to me because Star Citizen is website heavy.
very.
I've never played a game that requires more websites. So, um, yeah, I think that the idea that, especially that, you know, the auction stuff or like player trading is basically within Discord
Yeah,
or UEX. Um, I think it's a sad part about the game, in my opinion.
yeah.
So
It
hopefully that,
they need something soon because
yeah.
it's honestly, I could live with no player trading system if they could come up with a way to do a shared inventory system as well.
Mm,
Because like for like an org, for example, that has like an org base, like how are the permissions are gonna work on something like that? Like in other survival games, your
right,
Daisies, your Rust, like anyone who has permission to be in the base can also access those inventories. Um,
right,
and Star Citizen needs something like that because like right now, one of the things we're struggling with is we have all these guys going out and doing mining and stuff for us, but how do we consolidate and get all of those minerals into the same spot so that we can distribute them and actually accomplish our goals and see what we
right,
actually have on hand? Because right now it's just like, I think that guy has some of that rock and that guy has some of that rock and so has those rocks. I
right,
think, and then you have to like go track those people down and be like, is this true? Do you actually have that? Or what are you parting with? What are you giving to the org, for example? How is this working?
right.
And it just sucks right now. And
Yeah,
so
that's
a
interesting.
way, a way we can have a shared inventory that we can consolidate that is reliably there too, and not just being like, oh yeah, put it in my like local ship inventory because that ship's not always going to be there. But there needs to be like
Right.
a consistent way that we can share stuff
Like a
internally.
World of Warcraft has guild vaults.
Exactly. exactly.
Yeah, so that would be interesting.
Because the trade stuff is fine. Like it's inconvenient now, but in a way, it also benefits me a lot because I don't like doing like safe trades. I like being out. I like having to put them all in boxes and have to physically transport the box to you and give it to you. So it kind of benefits me in a way.
Right,
Currently,
right,
it's
right, right,
inconvenient for everybody else, but it's cool for me. Um,
right,
but getting all of our stuff into those boxes, mega pain, mega
right,
pain.
right.
And so I can't wait for that to change. And hopefully,
That'd be cool.
fingers crossed, it comes soon.
Plus,
Um,
hopefully, the whole social aspect of the game, it'd
yes,
be blocking, having better party stuff, all that stuff. I feel like that would be a nice change as well.
yeah. Don't even get me started on party stuff. Oh dear God, nothing makes me want to stop playing this game more than trying to make a party.
Yeah.
Um, cool. Well, as we're about an hour now, so we'll do a final question here, I think, and then
Okay.
we'll wrap up. So, final question will be list maybe two or three pros and cons of Star Citizen compared to other MMOs or experiences that are similar to Star Citizen. So basically, give some pros and cons relative to your experience in other games.
Right. The first one that comes to mind. So yesterday I was mining on a planet with a partner, and uh, you know, there was hurdles that I had to go through personally just to get there. And it's in Pyro. My home base is in Stanton, so I had to do that. Um, then you get to we were in Monix, and um, we landed, and the ramp wasn't touching the ground, and we didn't know that. And so um, we got off, we got in our buggy, we went to this cave, we got our stuff, and then we came back, and um, I knocked him out, threw him up there. Then uh, they asked for the max lift that I was using, so I tried to throw it up there. It went through the ship onto the ground. I went down under the ship to get it, and I fell through the planet. So those things, I mean, the biggest con for Star Citizen is that it is just unpredictable. It is very unpredictable what you're gonna get that day. If you're gonna get Star Citizen or you're gonna get Star Citizen. It's very unpredictable. I say that's one of the cons. One of the pros is that it's um sometimes those can be funny. I mean, but one of the pros for Star Citizen is that it is so expansive and so large, and um the the scope of the game is changing and expanding at a rate that you will not find in other MMOs. I
Yeah,
mean, for WoW, you have 20 years of updates, 20 years of expansions, but that next expansion is coming like in 2 years. And then it's going to drop on you, and you're going to have all this stuff to play, but kind of every month. I mean, especially taking a break for like 6 months.
yeah,
Um Coming back has been kind of wild, because you ask people that play every day. I asked Citizen Spooner, what do you think that I should do coming into 4.7? I've been gone for like 6 7 months, and he's like, oh, I there's not much to do, and I think it's just that he plays the game a lot, because I'm
yeah,
coming back and I'm like, what? Like,
yeah,
so it's expanding a lot. That's a pro. Um, the community is a huge pro. I think that, we have every community has a few negatives here and there, but I think for the most part, the community is very cool. Um, and we've all it's almost like we've all got stake in the game now. Um, so there is that. Another pro for the game would be um how passionate the devs are. I feel like the devs are passionate. They also talk to the community. Um, so even though we have this alpha situation, there is that level of there's still trust. There's
Yeah.
still trust. There's that trust that they're going to deliver. It may not be today, but it you know. Um, Another con would be that the learning curve is crazy. Even I don't know if you saw my video yesterday of me. Um, there was a vulture that was attacking me while I was mining, and
Oh, you're in the prospector?
I was trying to figure out how
Yeah.
to operate the prospector because I've done that before, but it was a long time ago. So I was trying to figure out how to do it. I was over these rocks, and I don't know if this was a player or if it was an NPC because it was very strange. But I thought it was a player because they were like sending me warning shots. They would shoot me once and then sit there.
Yeah.
And then I would go back to what I was doing and then he'd shoot me more and then sit there. And um so, you know, um the learning curve even coming back is hard. I just wasn't I didn't know what I was doing in the prospector. And you can hear in that video, it's like I'm turning the mining on and then off and then trying to find the guns and then firing the guns. So the learning curve, even if you're an experienced player, can be really tough. So
Yeah.
I would say that's a con, but sometimes it's a pro too. So
Yeah, it gives you something to sink your teeth into, but they also don't hold your hand even in the slightest, so it can be
no,
overwhelming if you're not ready for that just massive dump of information to hit you.
right.
Um,
And players do things differently. So even if
True.
you ask around, like I remember Vaughn missions, somebody says like, "This is how you do it," and then I found another player that was like, "Oh, you're doing Vaughn missions? Like, don't tell anybody, but this is how you do it." And
Yeah.
then I found another guy that was like, "Okay, do not tell anyone, but this is how you do the Vaughn missions." And so there is that level of like almost mythical quality to the game where you really don't know if you're doing things correctly or if if there's a
Yeah.
better way.
Yep. Very true. That's a good list. I like that list a lot. Um, I think if
It's
I
been
was to
wonderful
give,
talking to you, man. Been
yeah, you
wonderful
as
talking to
well.
you.
Yeah, it's
We need
been a
to
lot of
we need
fun.
to come back into game and I need to hit up Order 66 and maybe roll with you guys for a little bit.
Yeah,
I feel
we're
like
having
that'd
a
be
lot
fun.
of fun. We're yesterday was actually um one of the more fun times I've had because we were just it's a cool kind of like awe moment of just you're in an open world where anything can happen. So we're like at Hathor, we're getting ready to open the caves. Now the caves did bug out on multiple servers, so we never actually got them open. But the
Mm.
experience of kind of running them with everybody was really cool. And then above us was this space battle happening, and I knew one of the guys leading the space battle, and so at some point when the caves bugged out, I was like, "Rally the troops, we're going in!" And we all just
Nice.
rallied up and got into our ships. And we went in, attacked, and had a fun little space battle. And it was just like, yeah, this is you just don't get this elsewhere. It's too cool. Um,
That's awesome, man.
yeah, we had a lot of fun. You're more than welcome to pop in with us whenever. And yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on as well. We've been a good
Yeah,
chat for
sorry it
sure.
took so long. But I feel like this was kind of the perfect thing and this was a more one-on-one thing. So I'm very thankful for this and I think, you know, perfect time to do it right now. So
Yeah. And thank you for helping put me on the map because that video you did, I still hear people who are like, "Oh my God, I saw you in a video. What video did I see?" And I'm like, "It was definitely Primo's video." And they're like, "You're
that's
right.
cool.
That's it. That's the one." So I do
Right on,
appreciate
man.
it.
Yeah. That was that was a very special video. So
It's still doing numbers too. I saw like
yeah,
I don't
I
remember where
haven't
it sits
checked it in a.
anymore, but
Let
um,
me check it real quick. Just
yeah,
so anybody that's watching right now, you can go see it. It's called the hired to protect a VIP arms dealer, Star Citizen, for 72,000. So
yep, still doing well.
472K. Yeah, it's just right on. Hey, thanks, man.
Yeah. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up there. As always, I will have his links in the description. You guys will be seeing this Thursday, April 2nd. So make sure to give him a sub, follow, whatever he wants posted in there. I'll have it in the description. So make sure you go and follow, support all of them. And we will be back in, I believe, 2 weeks for episode 5. Look forward to seeing you guys all there. Enjoy 4.7, enjoy crafting, and we will see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Oh seven.
Oh 07.